All right, Oval fans, here's my review for Season 2, Episode 18, and I have no idea what the episode title is supposed to be. At first, I thought it was It Hurt, then somebody told me it was Like a Boss, and apparently TV Guide last night said Misunderstood, so I'm going to say Misunderstood, okay? Because apparently I misunderstood the memo telling me what the real title was. But for the most part, I thought this was a pretty solid episode. I give it an 8 out of 10. I think there were a number of standout scenes. And I mean, in my personal opinion, I'd probably say the scene between Lily and Donald was maybe my favorite. But there were still a lot of other great moments, like in the Oval between Victoria, Hunter, Ellie, and Alan, as well as the scene at the hospital where Nancy clapped back at Kareem and put him in his place. But overall, this was a very solid episode. So before going further in the video, please take a moment to hit like, hit subscribe, and thanks so much for helping the channel reach 38 million views yesterday, as well as the channel hitting 5,200 uploads. And make sure you take a moment to watch the dozen videos I posted yesterday on the channel, most of which were have and have not related, including the way I would have rewritten or rewrote the series finale. So without further ado, the episode picks up at the truck accident, and Richard is the first one to crawl out of the truck. He helps, pull Dale out, and Dale then takes Sharon out of the truck. They both work together and carry Sharon away from the scene of the truck, and just in time because the darn thing exploded not a few seconds after they managed to put Sharon on the ground, because it looks like she's the one who was in the worst shape after the crash. And even though it was never confirmed, I think it's safe to say that Dale almost got somewhat of a slight concussion after getting out of the truck itself, because there were a number of times where he seemed like he was out of it, from telling Richard, I just want to lay down, to barely able to stand up straight. So thankfully his phone was in his pocket, because Richard got him to call 911, and from there he was able to give their location, or at least the number of the road they were on, just to explain they were in a bad accident. So we go over to the White House, and Victoria goes into Alan's office to pretty much tell him to come outside and to meet with Hunter and Ellie as they came back to the White House, basically man up. So after they greet them, once they arrive on the White House property, because the press is there, Victoria's putting on an act. And I think before they even pulled up, Victoria's like, hey, stand up straight, put your, make sure your back shoulders are, firm, stand like a man, boy. And when they get to the Oval, what better way to say it than Victoria was in full Veronica mode. It's just that there were little to no censors with her, because this is BET, not the OWN network. Pretty much the way she was breaking down Alan was the same way Veronica would do to Jeffrey in the early seasons of the Haves and Have-Nots, basically telling Hunter, do you not see how pitiful this boy looks? You're screwing around with his girlfriend. Hunter doesn't care. This guy goes so far as to say, I don't want to look at his face. Who cares about his face? Look at her tits. And it's just like, wow. Because he's fully aware of the fact that Alan can't please her. Ellie is just a backstabbing little minx. And it's just crazy because, Victoria was trying to make Alan see what was going on without knowing that, well, he already knew what was going on. And I guess the core of this conversation was the fact that Victoria was telling Alan to man up and put Ellie in her place, and Hunter to stop messing around. It's like, he's like, well, yeah, I knew she took my underwear and everything because I know she's backstabbing and manipulative. So honestly, Alan should just cut his losses with Ellie and move on, because most of the staff should either quit and move out of DC, mainly due to the backstabbing, threatening nature of their employment, basically run now with your lives. That's the best thing I can tell you. Because it's interesting to me, because I love how Victoria seems to have more of a sympathetic bone in her body compared to Hunter. Because I remember after Donald confirmed Max was dead, remember Kyle thought Max was dead, that Victoria's like, you don't even care Max is dead. He served his family, you know, protecting us as security for years. Hunter didn't give a damn. He just wanted to get laid by Denise at the time. So in this situation, after Ellie and Alan leave the Oval, Victoria goes after them in the hallway, just saying, remember I told you, boy, find your balls, find your nuts, and, you know, be a man. And before she can go forward, Donald stops her and says, your father's on line 4. He wants to talk with you and the president right away. Shall we go to the Oval? And they go in, and he tells Alan to put the father on the phone. And basically, Victoria's father, he's disappointed that neither of them have called ever since Maud died. And it's like, well, we know you like your privacy, sir, even from my own daughter. Sorry, sir. And essentially, here's what's going on. He's dying, and there are some things that he wants to tell them. There are some things that he wants them to know, and to meet with him tomorrow at 4. And he hangs up immediately. I love before that, Hunter's like, well, yeah, tomorrow I have something. No, you don't. You haven't done the damn thing since you've been in the office, boy. You're going to come meet me at 4 tomorrow. And he hangs up before he says where, but Donald knows it's a house in Virginia. Yes, my home state. Yay. But let's hope it's not Rockwell, Virginia, because remember, that's where the Rakadushi are. So you never know. So from there, Sharon is rushed into the hospital on a stretcher, and Dale and Richard aren't too far behind. And like I said before, looking at Dale, man, this dude, okay, maybe he didn't need the same treatment that Sharon did, but he was pretty banged up. He could have at least seen somebody, because the dude was barely able to stand on his own. Richard seemed to be the person the least affected by the crash, and he's telling, hey, Dale, can you go fill out the paperwork? I need to make a call to somebody. Well, sir, I really don't know what to do. I mean, we work together, but I don't really know the details about Sharon's life. So maybe your wife? Wait, what do you mean my wife? Miss Nancy. She said that she used to stay with you all. And it's like, yeah, so can you call her? And Richard's pettiness was in full effect this episode, because he couldn't even call Nancy. What he did was gave the number in Dale's phone. Yeah, put the number to Nancy in his phone, and said, don't even tell her I was with you all. So he calls Nancy, and it's like, what's your name? What's your name? I just love the fact of how real this conversation was, because Nancy was cooking dinner. She rushes to get her phone, and it's like a telemarketer. I mean, who doesn't get damn near 10 calls like this a day, where it's like, what's your name? No, what's your name? Oh, wait, I'm sorry, I'm Dale. I work with Sharon. And basically, Nancy said she would rush down to the hospital to fill out the paperwork. Then as soon as he gets off the phone, Kareem calls about, hey, well, everything okay? And then, Dale talks about the accident, and then he rushes down to the hospital as well. And like I said before, just looking at freaking Dale, he needed somebody to check out, at least a bump on his head. I don't know, maybe because, he's living out of his truck and doesn't have the money for a hospital, but either way, he could have used some help. That's all I'm saying. All right, we go over to Alan and Ellie over in her office. Alan is still on this thing, but I love you. Come on, man. Come on, Ellie. You see he's using you and this and that after everything we've been through. I don't get why he's still on this, for real. Just let it go, Alan. And basically, she tries to stop him from, forcing himself on her, saying that, look, if you do anything to me, then I will ruin your career. Kind of like what Victoria was saying in the Oval to Hunter. Go on, Hunter, hit me, because the press parade is right outside. He doesn't care. And then he pretty much just leaves. That's they should just go, dude, for real. Just quit already. All right, so Sam goes into his office, and he starts listening to the phone calls on the hard drive. I believe he opens the encrypted files. Alonzo comes in at the moment he hooks up his headphones, and I think Kyle must have gotten an alert or something, because he immediately calls Donald saying, yes, Sam actually just opened the encrypted files. What do you want me to do? Donald's like, look, no more bloodshed. Just handle it, because things are crazy enough as it is, which is good, because not saying that Sam needs to die immediately or anything like that, but yeah, Donald makes a point. It's like from Diane to Jean to Miss Laura and Denise, there are way too many bodies right now. Way too many people are going to ask questions if people just keep quote unquote dying, disappearing in the White House. Oh yeah, and Yuma too. So he says, okay, I'll handle it. So he goes in there moments after Alonzo tells Sam about the whole thing, that me and Priscilla, we think Jean's murder was a cover-up. We don't know for sure. You're the only person I told. And then Sam tells him to go. And right when he does, Kyle comes in saying, oh no, Alonzo, I need you to stay. I need to talk to you for a second. And he essentially asks, Sam, what's going on? Why do you have the files? Because Alonzo went down to see Detective Jake, then I did, and then Agent Smith said he didn't have it. And, Sam pretty much is up front saying, hey, I think this whole thing with Jean is a little suspicious. And Kyle kind of, quote unquote, warns him that this goes above your head. You might not want to be looking at this too much. Why? Do you know something, Kyle? I don't know anything, sir. And then he basically ends up getting suspended for 2 weeks. And Kyle's like, are you sure you want to do that? And he does. So Kyle is quote unquote suspended. And it's interesting because the moment Sam goes right back to the computer to look at the files, they seem to have been corrupted, so he's got nothing off the drive. After that, we go over to probably my favorite scene of the episode, Donald walking into the bedroom while Lily's working on a dress, and they chat. She pretty much asks, look, why don't you just be happy? Why don't you come out and be yourself? We just had an openly gay man run for the White House and he did very well. And, Donald's retort is basically, this town isn't too kind to outsiders. Basically, the fact that, no great person is ever happy. And then Lily's like, well, you could be the first. You could set a new trend. And it's like, you know what? I know. And that's a very good point of discussion. Whether you're the first gay this, you're the first black that. There's a lot of scrutiny and stones to be tossed at you to endure if you're the first at anything, if you're a particular gender, race, or orientation. And there's a lot of flack that comes with it. So Donald just, I guess you could say, him and Lily are both in the same situation, because then he kind of flips the script asking her, well, why are you still involved in this? What's going on? Basically because Lily says, I want to get what's mine. I want to get what I reserve after all the years of conning and all the BS with you. So basically, it seems like neither Donald or Lily want happiness. They apparently want to be great and they want to get what they quote unquote deserve. And then from there, he pretty much says, I know you're upset about the whole boyfriend and Bobby thing, but he was a bad man. And he throws a photo on the bed and basically confirms, I was the one to hire Bobby in order to get incriminating evidence on you of cheating. Hence why the whole airport and bathroom sex thing happened. And I already knew about that. Photos and everything. That way, if you ever tried to leave me or divorce me, I could use that as leverage. Then we go over to Priscilla's house, and okay, I forgot to look at the end credits of the episode because I was a bit confused by this scene and what we learned later from Blakely in the very next scene. I believe this was supposed to be General Martin, the person that was brought up in the last episode by Nancy and Priscilla, and Blakely as well. Basically someone who is highly respected in service, and someone who, once he gets to information on a certain person, he can ruin their career. So basically, Priscilla tells him of the fact that she's suspicious about Jean's murder being a cover-up, not a murder and suicide, in reference to Greg. And then also the fact that Sam is cheating on the first lady. She confirmed it at work. I want to quit my job. I want to get a divorce from Sam. And he pretty much says, you want to make sure you have all the answers before you do that. And she hands over the packet that Diane gave her and said, look, I didn't give it to Sam. I'm only giving it to you. And he says, this is a big deal because it could all lead back to the president. And from there, I need to quietly make some phone calls. Please stay calm. And it's like, yeah, I have been staying calm. So then we go over to Blakely talking with Max and Bobby. And she says, well, actually, I think it's Bobby pulls up a contact that says Ben Davenport. I mean, she said this is one of her CIA, so a former CIA source, and the fact that, Max confirms it's a trusted resource because if she trusts him, Max does, because, well, Bobby, look, I've trusted your contact so far and look at where it's gotten us. Basically, she did say, I just got a call saying that the wife of, Sam, one of the agents at the White House, pretty much told him all this information from the Jean cover up and everything in the murder. So this is crazy. this is pretty intense because the cover-ups, every step of the way, they're covering up their tracks. And she says there are 4 years of your life, because in the preview I thought she said 4 years of being a ghost. That was in reference to General Martin. It was really about Bobby, the fact between his time in the military and as a CIA agent, she doesn't know a thing about him, even though her sources are supposed to be the best. And she wants him out by morning if he doesn't come clean. And now I go over to the last page of notes here. And Bobby says in the late 80s, I was in Moscow. I was like, ain't nobody put your black ass in Moscow. And then he gives out a specific like mission number and tells your sources to look it up. And she goes outside to check on it. And he's like, yeah, I'm more legit than you and your sources. I was waiting for him to say, I'm Bobby, baby. I was waiting for him to say that. So she asked, all your burner phones gone? Yeah, they are. Kind of want to get some rest. So she goes out into the hallway with Max and they chat for a bit. Max calls her out. I was like, look, you're testing him, aren't you? And then from there, it looks like they go have sex down the hallway. So we go over to Nancy meeting with Dale at the hospital. Oh yeah, this is almost the end of the episode, guys. Yeah, Nancy meets with Dale at the hospital and he tries to get her to fill out the paperwork as he explains as best he can without mentioning Richard in regards to the car accident. But it gets to a point where he has to say, yeah, your husband Richard was there. He's not signed into the hospital. He's fine. But I knew where the compound was. He asked me about it. We went up there, went to the gate. They wouldn't let him in, and I don't know for sure because I can't confirm if they were the ones to run us off the road, but it's pretty likely that they were. So from there, she gets on the phone to call Richard about the situation going on, and Kareem shows up, and once he explains about the car wreck to him, he pretty much snaps at a nurse to get a doctor. And I love Nancy's face because at the time she had gotten off the phone and started filling out the paperwork. And when the nurse said, so who are you to Sharon? I'm her boyfriend. Nancy kind of looked up. I'm like, what? And he recognized Nancy. You're Barry's mother, right? Yes, I am. Well, you can go now. We got this. Who you think you're talking to? We got this. Nancy just put that boy in his place and filled out that paperwork. And then from there, she gets home and finds Barry, who's alive because look, his chest was moving up and down. Barry's still alive. And the Rakadouchi decorated him and left him on the dining room table. I'll do a brief separate video in the meantime, but if you watch Ruthless, this has occurred once to a live person. That was Lynn, the wife of Brian. She went to the compound, and then when he got home from work, found her in the bedroom in the same fashion with the glitter and dust and, flower petals and whatnot. This happened again to William, but he was dead, so whatever. But in any case, Kareem just needs to open his eyes. I mean, Sharon is playing house with him until things work out with Barry. Like I said in a video a few weeks ago, I think that if the baby gets lost in the accident, it might be a situation where Kareem will say the wrong thing. Well, yeah, thank God you're not carrying that bastard's baby anymore, and then that will piss her off and make her go back to Barry. So Kareem just needs to open his eyes to what's really going on. But overall, I thought this was a solid episode. To poor Nancy, I mean, she went Barry. Like, that woman's heart, we already know she has a bad heart in season 1. That woman is going to die at this point from all the stress she's going through. But overall, I enjoyed this episode. I really did. I mean, we only got 19, 20, 21, 22. We got like 4 episodes left of the season. What did you think of Misunderstood? I think it has some great moments in it. I'm waiting for the full preview because I know that we usually get like a 15-second teaser, and then we get like a 30-second teaser because the trailer for next week looks pretty damn crazy. So thanks so much for tuning in. And as always, if you want to donate to the channel, make sure you do so on PayPal or Cash App, or at the very least, make sure you like and subscribe. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll talk to you in the next video.